Hi everyone, I have finished rehearsals today. I actually finished quite early today because I wasn't needed as much as I thought I would be. So I thought I would come upstairs and have a chat. I don't know why I'm holding this pen. It's actually a really cool pen though. It's got a little button on the end. When you press, it shines the Batman sign. I'll show you on the back of this piece of paper. Ooh, isn't that awesome? Anyway, I have come upstairs to chat to you about a chapter in my book that I wrote, and someone messaged me on Tumblr talking about that chapter and how it helped them and their own story, and it's a chapter called Losing What You Never Had. The whole chapter is about when you're in a relationship with someone that you love and you start to create this idea of a future that you want together, the future that you want to work towards. You start to talk about what kind of house you'd live in, or where that house is going to be, or whether you would have a dog or a cat, or what you name your children. You start to develop this whole life with someone that hasn't happened yet, but you hope that it's going to in the future. And it's such a wonderful thing to do, and it's such a natural thing to do. Even as an individual, you start to wonder where your life is going to go and you make plans for the future. But then when you've got someone else who you want to share that future with, someone that you love so much that you want them on the journey, it's really fun to start planning your future with them as well in mind. The only problem arises when you start to fall out of love with the person that you're with, or your feelings towards them change, but you still can't quite let go of the idea of that future that you've created together. My first boyfriend, I hope he won't mind me talking about this because we're still friends, and although I haven't seen him for a while, but every now and again we go out for dinner together and I think so highly of him. He's a wonderful guy. But my first boyfriend I was with for 2.5 years, and I fell out of love with him and didn't feel it was fair on either of us to continue a relationship with someone that I wasn't in love with anymore. And we had a very amicable breakup when I eventually broke up with him, but it took me a very, very long time to build up the courage to let go of that future that we'd planned. You know, we'd planned to live in a cottage just outside of London, and we'd have a dog, and we were gonna have 2 kids, and I think we'd even planned their names. It was so long ago now that I've forgotten. But even though I wasn't in love with him anymore, I was still completely in love with this idea of this future that we had together, and I just couldn't let it go. And because I was so in love with that idea, it took me so long to break up with him because I just didn't want to sacrifice having that future. Eventually, I came to realise that even if he and I had stayed together and I hadn't broken up with him, and we managed to make that idea of this future that we had together a reality, it never would have been exactly how I'd have wanted it. It never would have been perfect because I wasn't in love with him anymore. Even if every tiny detail that we had dreamed up together had become a reality, it never would have been perfect and I never would have been happy. We picture things perfectly because we allow ourselves perfection in our own fantasies, but if I was unsure about this guy in the present moment, then how I ever thought I was going to be happy in the future, or that it was going to turn into something perfect in the future when I just wasn't sure and I knew that I wasn't in love with him, it's completely beyond me. If you've already decided that the person that you're with isn't right for you, that isn't magically going to change, and as hard as that is to get to grips with, it isn't going to change. If you've already made up your mind that you don't want to be with the person that you're with, then you kind of just have to suck it up and let go of that future you've created with them. But the great thing is that when you eventually find someone who is right for you, who does make you happy and who you are in love with, you get to start creating a whole new future with them. So it really is best to let go of that future with the person who you know isn't right for you, so you can go and start creating a new one with someone who might just be. A dream is a wish your heart made. Again, I don't actually think I've announced this on my YouTube channel yet. I'm staying at Les Mis playing Eponine for a little bit longer, which